Coming to you live from One More Out of Here / Legal Shift Studios. 10 minutes late due to me, not Dan, not Dano. Everybody blames Dano. It's me. It's
Jason O. He had an emergency.
It's my fault. It's been a shit show of a day, but
he had a tough night. How are you feeling?
I'm fucking sore as shit.
And we can tell everybody what happened last night, or is it a state secret?
No, not a state secret. We had a pretty decent abandoned house fire that we had to 3:30 in the morning. Didn't get back to the firehouse till 8.
And what happened?
I almost fell into I guess what you would call a cellar door, exterior cellar door, racked my nutsack, and potentially pulled my groin. Oh, everything fucking hurts.
Does it hurt really bad?
Yeah, it's not. You
seem to be kind of moving around in your chair.
It's not fantastic, bud. It's not fantastic.
Trying to get a comfortable seating position.
So now I'm medicating.
Yes, self-medicating. Sure, it wasn't just a flare-up.
Oh, fuck. Jesus. I'm like, fuck, retirement can't get here quick enough.
So everything hurts?
Everything hurts.
Good.
My back.
Don't think about it.
I'm trying not
to. Does it hurt right now?
Hearing your voice in my ears hurts.
That's normal.
But no, I'm glad to be here with you. And
hey, thank you. I'm glad you were safe last night. I'm glad that nothing, all you did was hurt your scrotum.
Yeah.
And then, nothing was worse than that. I hope you didn't pull a hammy or a groin or anything like that.
No, we're good. I didn't break 5 ribs, so
excellent.
I just need to quit falling.
Excellent.
That's the moral of the story.
I think they teach you that. Oh, my dad said he cannot still get on. How about now, Dad? Jeez.
Keep trying.
Try again, Pop.
But no, I'm glad the other day when you said you wanted to do one the day after the DNC started.
I felt like there was going to be, and there is, I felt like it was a, look, you're not going to have to wait long to get material at a Democrat convention. So I just felt like we should, hit it early. And that way we could free up the rest of the week. So yesterday was the opening day. And we saw that the very manly, very toxically to masculinity mayor of Cincinnati did a video from there. I think we should probably play that at some point. But I knew there was going to be a lot to talk about, and I was not mistaken.
No, you definitely were not.
So, we hear a lot about toxic masculinity today. That term is bandied about mostly by the left. How the problems with this country can be traced to toxic masculinity, and I want to give you the antithesis to toxic masculinity.
You sent me this,
and I sent you the. Yeah, I mean this one. When I saw this, I said, no, this is not real. First of all, there's so many takeaways from this, but let's roll the tape of the mayor of Cincinnati, DNC.
Mayor Aftab here, coming to you from the DNC convention at the United Center in Chicago, Illinois, giving you a backstage glimpse as to all the things going on. It's just Sunday night. Everything goes live tomorrow. We're so excited to be here with the entire Ohio delegation. Just 80 some odd days until Election Day. We've got to do everything we can to make history and elect Vice President Kamala Harris.
Okay. Well, what do we take away from that?
So, first off, when you said it to me, I was like, who in the fuck is this guy wearing a Cincinnati Reds hat?
Well, I mean,
and I know who our mayor is, but I'm not used to
He's not
him.
our mayor. Let's be fair.
Well,
he's not. We do not live in the city, but he is the mayor of Cincinnati.
But I don't remember seeing him with a mustache.
I don't know what the mustache is.
Which fucked me up. But I was like, that guy's wearing a Cincinnati Reds hat.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, as soon as he started talking, I'm like, oh, that's Aftab.
Yeah, and it is actually fairly how do I say it? I mean, I don't think right now you could fold your legs like that. But is that how you sit? Like when you're in a chair, you fold your legs like that?
I'm always a cross leg sitter. Right. I'm never a drop over sitter.
Right. And then I don't know about you, but my shoulders are significantly wider than my waist. So I don't know what that look is. And the mustache, I mean, I appreciate his attempt at manliness, but
do you remember the movie Police Academy?
Yeah.
In the Blue Oyster Bar.
Oh yeah.
You put a leather hat on him.
Oh, it's
and dim
right
the lights.
There. It's right there.
The music's coming.
Hey, look,
I don't like him. I don't like him personally.
I don't like his policies.
I don't like him personally.
I don't like what he's done to the city. I don't like his I don't like how he presents himself as one thing but is quite another. But at the end of the day, that is, if that's the definition of manliness, you can count me out, right? Just call me a Neanderthal, because
Right.
I'll just go knuckle dragging around society, and that's going to be. I'm trying to get my dad online while we're doing this, so bear with me. Anyhow,
this is
every show.
This could almost be a segment.
It could be a segment. I mean, picture, it's, if you've ever seen Seinfeld, it's the Costanzas. I mean, that's pretty much, I can hear them. I can actually hear my parents yelling at each other, from across the couches. One's in one couch. I got it. No, shut up. I got it. I mean, that's
I already figured it out.
That's pretty much how it is. I appreciate the new lighting in here, though. This looks great. It's very well lit.
Yeah, we bought another light.
Investment.
But Jay Hunt said he's either that guy from Reno 911 or the Village People cop.
Yeah, he is. So anyway, that's the face of Cincinnati. I'm sure that's going to spur a lot of economic development in the city. I don't know what industry.
Most definitely.
So, whatever. But no, the Democrat convention opened, and I have to say right off the bat, now I want to be fair. Those that know me know that I don't stay up particularly late. It's just, I have a schedule I like to keep, but
you like to text me at 5:48 in the morning.
I'm up at 5:48.
I know.
I mean, I'm sorry.
It's so dumb.
Well, I mean,
You're
what?
retired.
Early to bed, early to rise, baby.
You're retired.
But anyway, here's the deal. I'm semi-retired. Well, actually, it's not true. But whatever. Here's the deal.
I get back in the fire truck.
And there's texts.
There's texts from
This
Pappas.
is after you wrecked your scrotum?
Yes.
That's too bad.
After I racked my nutsack.
You're dying.
And we go back to the firehouse. I'm like, oh, Andrew Pappas texted me.
My dad's on.
Awesome.
That's awesome. As you're sitting there with an ice pack in your groin.
I'm like, Jesus
I'm
Christ,
glad you didn't
man.
hurt yourself. And so the fire was extinguished and you guys left?
It was. Abandoned building. So, I mean,
Awesome.
it's
nobody. Yes.
nobody got hurt.
So anyhow, I was sitting there and I was like, okay, having been to conventions, and that doesn't mean special, but having watched plenty more than I've been to for sure, I was like, you have a sitting president, okay? The sitting president of the United States. And he's going to be making a presentation. And let's be fair, no matter what side of the fence you are on, this has never been done before, where a candidate who legitimately won the primary, got the votes required, was then forced out, as Nancy Pelosi admitted to last night on an interview, I believe on CNN. He's going to make a speech, which should be, honestly, the high point, right, of your opening night. Now, you would think. Joe Biden took the stage at 11:30 Eastern time last night. I mean, how fundamentally disrespectful is that to the office of the president, that the Democrats feel that's what they think of him? So they are so loathsome of him, and they're just basically, I mean, they were throwing basically dirt into the hole on top of him. It was terrible.
Exactly. And it's, the last few years, it's almost like he's been non-existent anyway, for different reasons.
Well, he's been and did you watch his speech? I mean, most of it, or have you not had a chance you were recovering
snippets.
from?
I've seen snippets, but I didn't.
Swollenitis.
I wanted to watch all of it, and I started to watch it, and I'm like, dude, I can't fucking do this.
Your blood pressure,
yeah,
eyes bleeding,
yeah,
ears bleeding.
So I grabbed snippets. I saw just a little bit of his speech, but he's been non-existent for the most part. And to your point, where just put him out to pasture,
get him out of here.
Put the bullet in his head. He's done.
They would have been better served had they just brought him in a wheelchair out and pushed him off the stage, because that's in essence what they did.
Yeah. I
mean, there was a video. Remember the video the Democrats had years ago of, they said Republicans wanted to push seniors off the cliff. Remember that? Yep. There was a commercial made about that. That is what the Democrats did to Joe Biden. And the chants, we love Joe. I mean, we're so hollow. Nancy Pelosi chanting that. All of those people at that convention literally have stabbed Joe Biden in the back, and they have the gall and think so little of you, the American public, that they put on this dog and pony show last night, how much they love Joe Biden. They don't have any more love for Joe Biden than I do. He was a vehicle. He was an empty vessel. They used him as such. And as soon as he outlived his proverbial usefulness to him. They tossed him to the side like a piece of trash. The Democrat Party, you know what happened yesterday? The Democrat Party formally aborted the Biden presidency yesterday. That's what happened.
That's exactly what happened.
And, I'm not going to fall for your little shenanigans. And Kamala, they kept showing her in the crowd. And I was just literally like you. I was like, okay, I'm either going to break the TV or have an aneurysm. I'm not sure which one. But I watched it for the most part, tuned out a bit, but then came back in. And I just was overcome with the feeling of how fundamentally disrespectful they owed him more than what they gave him last night, and they just couldn't do it.
I agree. And again, I don't particularly like him, but I feel the same that they do owe him that. He is still the sitting president currently. And I came back from a run and Jill's like, AOC speaking at the DNC. Are you watching? I'm like, fuck, no, I'm not watching it. I'm doing run reports right now, but I don't need to watch that. I especially don't need to watch that fucking diatribe of fucking stupidity.
Well, I mean, what is she going to tell you that is of any useful knowledge? I mean, she speaks and, I think she's one step better than Kamala, but not much. And, getting back to the DNC in general, I'll say this. I was really concerned because I saw, as you did in the reports, why are you moving my thing down? Why are you doing that? Why? Okay, this is on the fly. We're on the air here, sir. You can't have, are you moving it down? You want to see my bulbous head?
Well, now people can see your fucking face.
Well, I don't, it's a great face for radio.
Falk likes it, and I like it too.
Do you know that? I printed that.
Yeah, he made that.
Yeah, I made that.
And then he also put it there.
These hands have been sitting in ivory liquid, Pilgrim?
He also put it there. But then I kept reading the comment, and it was driving me nuts.
I'm sorry. So anyway, here's the deal. So I don't want there to be any violence in Chicago. I think I said that the last show. I really pray for peace and no violence in Chicago. I don't want to see anybody hurt, no matter what our political differences are. And there was a security breach in Chicago yesterday, and I'm really concerned about that because I know what it's like having been there. I mean, you can watch it on TV, but you don't understand. So the way it is, so picture this. I mean, wherever your arena is in the city that you're listening to, and you're giggling at comments. So here's the deal. If there's an arena and they set up a perimeter 7 or 8 blocks around it, that's the secure area. Everything inside that perimeter is considered secure. So when you go into when you enter the secure area, you go through magnometers and you're checked and your bags are checked. And then once you're inside, you have pretty much free and unfettered access inside to the arena, because all you need to get into the arena is a badge. Yeah. And it's not like they scan it. They do not scan it. They don't check. There's no ID check going into the arena. It doesn't have your name on the badge. It just shows that it's an official badge and you can get in. Well, if there's a security breach, then that whole area is compromised. And how do you know that someone didn't, once the fence was breached, how do you know someone didn't throw, 5 guns or pipe bombs or whatever else in there? I'm generally concerned about that. And they need to make sure it does not happen again, because the opportunity for bad actions is very, very high. And I hope they take steps to rectify it. I have a feeling, judging from what I've heard and judging from what I've seen, and we're going to show some video, but that was day one. These protests are going to ramp up every day.
It's they're not just coming day one and just go, oh, okay, we did our thing.
No,
it's just going to get worse.
So let's show
it's mob mentality.
And what did it look like? This is something, and this was stunning because you have the video. Things I did not see at the RNC. This did not happen in Milwaukee. I just want folks to understand that. Were there protesters? Yeah, as you walked into each checkpoint, there would be a few people out there, and I mean a few, like 5 or maybe less. And there's always that. You have that even at a Bengals game, right? I mean, you see people doing weird things. But what I saw in Chicago stunned me with the level of organized protest and what the poor police have to deal with. And let's show some of that.
I'll pull that comment back up because you didn't notice. or chose not
Oh,
to.
513 is here. So I don't own any of those shirts, buddy. So, hey, 513, if you want to make accusations, please be factually correct, or else you can pretty much take that term and apply it to yourself.
Inside 578 Park, I should first mention that I'd like to piggyback off of what Chuck Gowdy was just telling you. While that fence breach was occurring, there was a large section of this protest that just went on as if they had no idea that any of this fence breach had actually happened. And again, we are at 578 Park. That's roughly the midway point of this planned protest. We were actually speaking with the spokesperson for the Coalition to March on the DNC. That is the organization responsible for putting on this march and protest. Again, this was happening several blocks away, this interview on Lake Street.
Nothing like
the
that.
Spokesperson for this organization. He admitted the protesters who breached the secure perimeter were protesters from this group. I specifically asked him if he denounced that escalation of those protesters. Here's what he had to say.
No problem with escalation. I got no problem with disruption. The problem I got is when you do it within the context of a different kind of event.
I don't know what that means. What does that mean?
Now, we told you that the organizing group is the Coalition to March on the DNC. Well,
I
what does
take that
really
as
mean? They say their
protest
central message
outside.
is that they stand with Palestine.
He's
and
with
they
them,
want to end
but do it
U.S.
the right way.
military aid
But he asked
to
him, do you
Israel. People
appreciate the
marching today
escalation?
coming from all
And
corners of
the
United
escalation
States
was
and really
breaching the
world. We
security.
talked to
I'd have
people
to go back.
from Kansas City, Portland, Oregon, Ann Arbor, Michigan, Washington, D.C. Interestingly enough, I did not speak to anyone who's actually from Chicago or the Chicago area. Of course,
Imagine that.
not to intimate that may not be the case here. There were thousands of people out here protesting today. We spoke to some of those protesters about some of their core issues at hand
So
as
they
they
get
march
feedback on
to
the
the
video.
United Center on the first day of the DNC. Here's what they had to say.
People come together, it's energizing, and it says that you don't have to be Muslim, you don't have to be Palestinian to actually stand up for what is right today.
I am a mother of a 4-year-old, and ever since I saw my first video ever of a 4-year-old being murdered on my screen, I've been sick about it. And yeah, I think the message is just this has to stop.
And the last thing I'd like to mention here is that this was a mostly peaceful protest for the majority of the day. We arrived around 11 this morning. There was a
Sounds like
rally for
Minneapolis.
several hours at Union Park, a few blocks to our east. That went off seemingly without a hitch. Then the march happened to the midway point. This Park 578. Jeff, get out of the way here. There's some cars moving through. That's a decent sign that there may be getting back to some sense of normalcy in this neighborhood as this protest comes to its conclusion. There are still some police around us, still a number of media outlets as well.
That was yesterday.
Straggling protesters at this point.
What?
Wow.
So when you're in Milwaukee,
Yeah.
I'm all about the protesting as long as you're doing it peacefully.
Right.
Do your thing.
Right.
And those videos, I did not see anything crazy. The breach, I'm not super familiar with.
The breach video I saw was they were literally, so there's these I'm sure it's the same type of temporary fencing. It's a black wire, heavy gauge wire, freestanding panels that are secured at the bottom in concrete sort of. And I'm sure it's the same thing. And they were literally climbing on them and had breached them, had pushed them in. I mean, you can't have that happen. Everything that needs to go into that secure area, much like if the secure area is a 10-city block or whatever the case may be, has to be scanned and has to be checked for bombs, for guns. It wouldn't causing a stampede would probably be the most dangerous thing. And that was, getting back to the Trump assassination. Yes, the assassination was terrible. The poor murder of innocent bystander and injuring innocent attendees was terrible. But what the miracle of that was that there was not a stampede, because you've been in concert. You're a concert aficionado of sorts, and I mean, the worst thing in any type of sporting good or sporting event or concert thing is all those people stampeding, and that's where your lion's share of injuries occur. So I hope they do a better job. I have a feeling what they're probably going to do, no knowledge whatsoever, but what they did in Milwaukee at least was, Milwaukee had a initial map of the security perimeter, and then after Trump was assassinated or attempted to be assassinated, they expanded that perimeter. I think you'll find that Chicago probably, and Chicago knows what they're doing. They're well aware of conventions and violence at conventions. I think what they're going to do is they're going to expand that security zone out further and try to maintain it a little bit better. So we'll see what happens.
But
that was the Chicago. The convention started off.
I mean, Chicago is a whole different fucking animal.
It is. Chicago has its own problems on any given night, right?
I know a couple of Chicago firemen that were gearing up.
Yeah.
They were gearing up for it. I mean, just because you don't know. And even the guys in Milwaukee for the RNC, you don't know what's going to happen.
Then you have police there from all over the nation. And let's mention that. When you bring in police for these events, they're from all over the United States. I mean, we saw police from everywhere, Ohio included, up in Milwaukee. So I just think that, this is day one. I hope they get a handle on it. But what I found is, and what I noticed, maybe it jumped out at everybody else, the DNC, first of all, they issued they released their platform. It still said Joe Biden all over it. They didn't even bother proofreading the platform. It was going to be Joe Biden's second administration, second term. It says it all through their platform. The other thing is that they start off and they apologize to the indigenous people of Chicago that they're holding the event on their words, stolen land. I don't know if you saw that.
I did not.
Yeah. So they started off and they issued a statement. They said how we're so sorry we're holding this convention in Chicago on stolen land. Well, I mean, but we're still having it. We're still the land, but we're still having it.
We're sorry.
Well, we're not sorry. We're sorry, but we're not sorry.
Right.
So that's virtue signaling right there. The other thing is obviously they stole the nomination, and that's factual. And this is not, this. I'd like to credit. Jesse Waters had a deal segment last night, and he said it's, they're having their convention on stolen land with stolen valor on the part of their vice presidential candidate, who clearly retired as a master sergeant, yet they introduced him at the deal as a oh, there you go. That's it. Yeah. You playing this on the air? Playing it live? So, I mean, it's stolen valor on stolen land with a stolen nomination. I mean, it's everything was stolen, and with stolen ideas, because I'm sure they're going to promote, at least at some point, they'll probably promote the no tax on tips, idea that they took from Donald Trump. And so we'll see what happens. But my hope is they get a handle on it. I wasn't overly impressed with the speeches last night. I will say I was pretty much, did you see, and I've sent you so much, so it's kind of hard to see where you want to roll with this, but the governor of Kentucky kind of stepped in it a little bit yesterday, and he's one of the rising stars of the Democrat Party. But he actually wished, not necessarily wished, that might, I don't want to overstate what he did, but he was remissful that he was kind of hopeful that maybe J.D. Vance would have to suffer, his family would somehow be the victim of a pregnancy caused by rape. And I thought that was pretty abhorrent. And I thought that was something that he should come out and apologize for. And to date, as of the show coming on the air, he has not. So I don't know what Andy Beshear, those are not Kentucky values for the Kentucky people that I know. And I think Andy Beshear owes the people of Kentucky and and J.D. Vance's family a complete and utter apology. I was also stunned how they tried to promote Kamala as being, we mentioned AOC, her big deal was saying how Kamala was a common member of the common, a common person, common man.
Yeah, I'm gonna hit your Jesse Waters.
Yeah, let's hit Jesse Waters real quick so he can say it better than I ever could, but it's hilarious.
Their party platform for 2024. They didn't even bother to proofread it. Biden's second term is mentioned 19 times. They threw him out so fast they don't even care whose second term it is. The Obamas will run it anyway. If you want to know where Democrats' priorities are, just read the first page of the document. They apologize to indigenous people for holding the convention on stolen land. They're sorry, but they're staying. That makes this theme, this week's DNC, stolen land, stolen valor, and stolen nomination.
You can't argue with that. I mean, that's gold. And that's just night one. Tonight, two. Tonight, they're going to, from my understanding, Obama's going to speak. And, you know, you and I agree that Joe Biden probably has not been running this administration. Everyone asks who's pulling the strings, who's running the show. Because, look, given his speech last night, there was one point in the speech where he kind of had a, and I sent you that clip. I don't know if you have it handy, but there was one point in the clip where Joe Biden's brain misfired, and he was angry. I mean, if you watch his speech last night, I don't know what they had him on, but you could tell it was the same kind of, almost same type of. It was just so creepy. It started off creepy because he walks out and he hugs his daughter. Well, the same daughter, I don't know if you know the specifics or at least have heard of the specifics about her found diary.
The diary.
Yeah. So I was like, and then she starts off her speech with a memory from childhood. And I was like, oh my God, she's going to say something about him showering with her at a young age where she felt like it was inappropriate.
Well, with that whole story, your credibility is now obviously shot and in question, at the very least in question.
Right.
And you're going to be the one to come out and
introduce Dad. I guess Hunter was busy painting. I guess, I mean, the only one with less credibility. And look, don't get me wrong. I feel bad for the girl. I really do. I mean, you know, they probably are like, look, you got to do this for your dad. And she's like, oh, he's creepy. I don't want to do it for him because he's a creepy dude. And then she starts recounting a story from her childhood. And I was like, okay, where's this going? You know, I was like, I remember one time, Daddy. But he comes out, he gives his speech, and he was so pissed. But he was pissed. The thing I found most surprising and actually funny, he was pissed at Donald Trump. I mean, he mentioned Donald Trump like countless times. Yet the person he should have been most pissed off at were the very people in that room that stole his nomination. So that's the part I cannot get over, the fact that he was so upset at Donald Trump because Donald Trump literally kicked his ass in the first debate so badly that the Democrats had to pull his campaign and pull him from being the nominee. And yet he's angry at Donald Trump. His anger was misplaced. If I was him, I would have given a speech how pissed off he was at Nancy Pelosi for orchestrating and pulling off a coup of sorts, unseating a duly elected nominee of their party's primary. But hey, whatever. Jason's running a little bit behind today because obviously his body parts hurt.
Well, you also sent me shit like super late.
I'm sorry. Was there a deadline?
Well, and you also text them to me instead of emailing. So
I'm
then
sorry.
I have to do it.
I'm sorry.
I'm not.
Did I get them to you?
You did.
Okay. Thank you. Case in point.
Yeah, case in point. You're a fucking clown.
I'm giving you material here.
It's their party platform for 2024. They didn't even bother to proofread it.
No,
Biden's second term.
That's the wrong one.
That's the wrong one. But, you know, I wonder what Obama's going to do tonight. And I will give Obama his due. Barack Obama is a great speaker, and he knows how to work the crowd. And we didn't even mention Hillary Clinton. I was kind of surprised when they pulled her out on stage. I was like, what the heck is she going to say that anyone wants to hear? I mean, here's a woman, you know, and they did start. Did you notice that when Hillary was speaking and railing on Trump, they started the lock him up chants? I thought that was funny. They couldn't even start original chants. And she was nodding her head along with it, you know, oh, yeah, lock him up because, you know, he said that about me. But what I also found hilarious was there was a speaker, I cannot remember her name, but she came out and she was lamenting the fact that if Donald Trump gets in the White House, he's going to use the Justice Department and the FBI to persecute his political opponents. And I was like, are you freaking kidding me? Like I don't know, maybe raid his house and seize documents and then make, misdemeanors into felonies by applying laws that have never been applied before in such a way that you're going to try to bring 40 charges against the guy. That kind of lawfare that has been well documented and the American public has just, not ignored, but they've shunned, they've repudiated it by saying, you know what, we can see through this.
Well, and then we appoint special counsel.
Yeah.
And he gets funds that aren't appropriated. I mean,
and we put a guy from the second at the Justice Department. We demote him down, or we let him go work on the DA of New York case against Donald Trump. I mean, things that have not been done before. I mean, clear lawfare against a former sitting president and now private citizen. Yet they're lamenting. I found what liberals love to do, and maybe you can back me up on this. What liberals love to do is liberals love to accuse you, and this is a Marxist philosophy, but they love to accuse you of what they themselves are doing. And that somehow, clears them of the wrongdoing of exactly what they're doing.
It's a clinical definition of gaslighting.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's just, yeah, but they do it on a level that is just
I agree.
far beyond. I don't think gaslighting really captures the full.
That's more of a social.
That's more of a social media type thing, I guess. But yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see what day 2 brings. And gosh knows that I'll be watching. I just hope that it takes place a little earlier tonight, because it's going to be a full schedule.
A full schedule. I found this one where we talk about, and we always hear how the crowd, Donald Trump always talks about the crowds that he has.
Yeah.
Right.
Which is whatever.
Which the video footage that from multiple angles appears to be true. And when I saw the beginning, and granted, it's the first day, and I'm all about giving. It's the first day. You like to be there the first day for the art.
I'm kind of crazy.
You want to be there the whole time.
I'm right there at the
Not
beginning.
everybody wants to do that, but I was kind of shocked at how
sparse.
Yeah, how sparse it was.
It started off sparse. I'll say this. It did fill in, but it did start off sparse. And for a party that's promoting how
it's like going to a concert, though. Like, if I don't give a shit about the
pre-band,
the opening
warm-up
act
show, and they do start off with B speakers. There's no question. But the first night, usually what starts off is you get a bunch of people the first day that they're like, hey, we'll let you speak at the convention. But that's the other thing. I was kind of puzzled. They put the president of the United States on the very first day. And I guess they wanted to, because it was a wake. I mean, it really was a wake. And he was giving his own eulogy. They're like, let's get him out the door and down the road. And now he's in California on vacation, even though the world is still a very dangerous place. I mean, today, for example, or yesterday, for example,
still has a job
to do, but he's in California on vacation. Now, he did just get back from being in Delaware, sleeping on vacation, but he's really busy because he's tired from his speech that they jacked him up on all sorts of whatever. But, at the end of the day, yesterday, for example, in the Philippines, in the South China Sea, a Chinese and Philippine Coast Guard vessels actually collided. So tensions are pretty high in the Pacific, yet we've moved now a carrier group that was, pretty much keeping things under wraps in the Pacific. Now that due to the Mid-East conflict, which has not gone away, we have a carrier group now that's repositioned to the Mideast. So, I mean, where is Joe Biden? Who's running this government? I mean, we know Kamala is now in full campaign mode, and she's at her convention and can't be bothered. Joe Biden made an appearance on Monday night. He's now vacationing in California, but the world is still a very, very dangerous place. I'd like to know who the hell's in charge. Who's minding the store?
Well, especially everyone else is in Chicago.
Everyone else is in Chicago. So, I mean, if I was an enemy of the United States, now that the party that's occupying the White House seems to be preoccupied with a campaign and at all costs beating Donald J. Trump, now's when I would do, bad deeds, because no one's paying attention.
Mm-hmm. They're worried about getting their girl in.
They're worried about getting her girl in. And
like you said, they put him out the pasture. They're like, oh yeah, he's fine. He's only got a couple more months to go.
Right. And I think, he still has a country to run for another 3 or 4 months. And I mean, at least till January. And this causes me some angst. And I don't like to be angst.
Well, and this is where I brought up the crowds. This video I found so fucking amusing because I hate the city of Pittsburgh. I hate it because I'm a Cincinnati Bengals fan, and it is what it is. But I do love Primanti Brothers. I will take that from Pittsburgh.
Oh, is this when they were in Pittsburgh?
Yeah.
This is not in Chicago.
This is not in Chicago.
Yeah, then when they tossed everybody.
Yeah, they fucking told everybody to get out of the restaurant.
And I will agree with you. Primanti Brothers makes a mean sandwich.
Yes, they
do. They make a mean
Absolutely.
sandwich.
And I have buddies in Pittsburgh, and so I deal with it. But
this is what they do for optics. And this is how
fucking ridiculous.
This is how they skew. I guess they do things for the camera that if you were just catching like the video of them inside, you'd be like, wow, she's wildly popular. Roll the clip of what they did in Pittsburgh.
You are terrible people.
Tell us again what happened to Primanti Brothers?
They kicked us out of Primanti Brothers so that they could get the paid actors inside.
Ridiculous.
Where's all the paid actors?
Look at all these people. My God.
Holy hell. All these actors in these vans. I know. They can't even afford actors.
They kicked us out of Primanti Brothers.
Do you have this clip?
I think you sent me the Biden one. I was trying to pull it up. I think you sent me one.
I'm going to send it to your mail right now. So I'd just like to bring one thing up also about something that disturbed me greatly about the opening night of the DNC was they had a speaker who was a civil rights activist. Her name is actually, I want to make sure I get this right. Hold on a second. Her name is Melanie Campbell. And she was one of the very first speakers at the DNC on Monday night. And she is the president CEO of the National Coalition on Black Civic Participation.
That.
Prominent. That's it right there. Yep. So are you showing that on there? Yep. So folks can read this. But I mean, read the comments that she makes about F white women and then, anti-Trump stuff. I mean, but this is who the Democrats trot out. I thought this was the party, which reminds me of what happened today on Beachmont. I thought this was the party of inclusivity and diversity. These people these people drive around. So the news, for whatever reason, asked me to do a blurb today on the Trump store on Beachmont Avenue. So I'm like, whatever. And so I go over there and they interview me on what my thoughts are on there being a Trump store. And I commented, I've yet to see a Kamala store pop up anywhere. I mean, anywhere. I mean, if she comes in town for a parade or for for a rally, I'm sure there will be a Kamala pop-up store. I'm sure there would be. I'd be shocked if there wasn't. But as far as a sticks and bricks, Kamala Harris, get your Kamala Harris.
All your swag, your gear.
Whatever they would sell. Yeah, whatever. I mean, I don't want to be crude, but I don't think I could think of some things. But so this gentleman opened a private store, private entrepreneur, has one in Dry Ridge, Kentucky. So I go over there. Well, driving by, we're just sitting there on the street, not minding our own business. The news camera's rolling. He's doing the interview. I'm being very, very, very suave and debonair in front of the camera.
As you normally are.
As I normally am.
In front of the camera.
In front of the camera.
As you can see.
As I can see. And so I'm sitting there and he's asking me questions. Lady drives by, honks her horn, flips us off. It's true, she's driving by. What is on the back of her car?
Biden Harris.
No.
Biden.
Coexist. And diversity.
That was the next one.
And I'm like, the irony, and the news guy picked up on it. He started laughing. I'm like, yeah, man. Apparently, to the Democrats, the only diversity is what they define as diversity, not diversity of thought, not diversity of ideas, and not diversity of opinion. Just agree with them, or you're a racist, misogynist, homophobic bigot who needs to go to some re-education camp, and that's pretty much the way it is.
Yeah. I found this video as well, and I don't know if you're a Charlie Kirk fan or not.
Yeah, I like Charlie,
but I love watching the little blurbs when he's at college campuses, and people are like, "Why are you here? Why are you here?" And he was like, "I want to talk. I want to debate." Because when we stop, and his whole thing is when we stop doing that, that's when bad things happen.
Absolutely.
So I found this one, and I knew I'd find something with him.
Yeah,
being up there, I knew he'd be there one way or another. He got your credential, unfortunately.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm still looking on Facebook Marketplace. I've yet to find credentials for Chicago.
Hello, everybody. Live from beautiful Chicago, where the DNC is happening. You know, it's really amazing. Forever we've been saying, build the wall, we must build the wall. The wall has been built, but the wall is built at the Democrat National Convention in Chicago. You see, no wall for our country, no wall to prevent people from invading America, but there is a wall for your very rich, well-connected, plutocrat Democrats that want to have a party here in Chicago. It's amazing. They want to defund the police. Never seen so many police in my life. It's quite amazing. And I'm told you need to get a photo ID to go into the DNC. So you can vote without a photo ID. You can come into America without a photo ID. But hey, we're going to build the wall to make sure the DNC is safe. We're going to have a fun week here in Chicago. God bless. Keep on following our social for more updates.
I mean, Cincy 503 said something about irony, but isn't that irony?
Isn't it ironic?
Don't
you think?
Don't you think?
I mean, you know,
I didn't pull the clip. There's another one of him inside the arena and some kid from Georgia. And I say kid because he literally looked like he was like maybe 22, 23 years old. Looked young. He may have been older.
Yeah.
And he just starts berating Kirk.
Oh, yeah.
And he was like, and you know, his videographer or whatever pans over to me. He's like, I haven't said a word yet. Like, I haven't even questioned or asked anybody anything. This guy, because he knows who he is, and obviously he's a very popular dude.
That's Andy Bashir. I didn't know if you had that ready to go.
Yeah, I think I've got that one.
Yeah, and he hadn't opened his mouth yet, and yet here we are.
Did you see that clip with?
Oh yeah,
kid from Georgia.
Yeah, and I mean, it's like, doesn't matter what you say. I know what you're going to say, and I'm against it, right? And it's stunning how the Democrats are the first ones to say. You keep pulling up that same
everything that you.
I mean, I'm telling you. So it's hilarious to me that the Democrats are the party that says no IDs required for anything unless you're coming to our convention. I mean, they don't grasp the complete and utter irony of that. The other thing is walls, I guess, only work around their homes and their conventions. They do not work around the country. Why is that acceptable? Why is that even rational? How does that make any sense? If, you know, a good neighbor, you know what makes the best neighbors, Jason? Good fences make the best neighbors. And
you're not wrong.
I'm not wrong on that. And that applies to your house. It applies to your neighborhood. It applies to your country. And I don't, as we talked about before, the Republicans are the party of strong borders, strong security, and it is not hypocritical for them to require IDs and or fences around their facilities. The Democrat Party, I guess, is the party of do as I say, not as I do, and I find it reprehensible and completely and utterly there's no defense for it. So 513 pound salt, buddy. I hate to tell you that you've lost that argument all day long and twice on Sunday. But getting back to Bashir, this is Andy Bashir's comments regarding J.D. Vance's family. And I think that
I don't know why every time I was clicking the text you sent me, it was give me the same one.
Well, I'm sorry. I'll email it to you forever.
That's okay, bud.
But Andy Bashir, I really think the people of Kentucky need to do some soul searching and wonder and demand that Andy Bashir apologize for this comment, which I think is fairly reprehensible.
Go through because of these laws. I mean, J.D. Vance calls pregnancy resulting from rape inconvenient. Like, inconvenience is traffic. I mean, make him go through this.
So I guess what he's saying there is he hopes that somehow, some way, a member of J.D. Vance's family will suffer that situation, which is, I wouldn't wish on anybody, but it's okay because he's a member of the other party. I mean, come on. Is that where I thought we were supposed to be, get away from the rhetoric, but we didn't. And it's sad. I hope things turn around. We were talking a little bit about how angry President Biden was last night. I thought this clip was so funny, and this is something I saw on Instagram. I'm gonna send it to you just right now so you can get it. But this was kind of a montage, a little bit of what went on last night, and shows the anger and the eyes. You got to see the eyes of who Joseph Biden focused his anger on last night at the DNC convention. So I don't know how quickly you'll get that given our Soviet era audio and equipment, but I think the speeds are vastly improved since we fixed some things. I think we fixed some things thanks to my input here. This is Joseph Biden.
That's the one you want. That's the one you want.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this is from last night.
I'm going to let this play. Keep talking for a second. I'm going to let it play, and then I'm going to start from the beginning.
All right. This is from last night. These are just clipped together from last night. And this is just a pretty funny clip I saw on Instagram. I forwarded it to Jason, and it just shows he's so angry at Donald Trump and mentions his name ad nauseum. But Donald Trump, all he did was just beat the pants off him in debate. The Democrats decided to, and Nancy Pelosi admitted it. She said, because we weren't going to win the election, we pulled him. And that's where we're at right now. Never been done before, but here we go.
Does he think he is? Donald Trump. Donald Trump. Donald Trump. Donald Trump. Donald Trump. 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 Donald 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 Trump.
Biden. I'm not going to use the name anymore. Just one time.
Who does he think he is?
And I thought that was great at the convention. He literally, the whole time I was there for his speech that night, which albeit ran a little bit long on his acceptance speech. I'll say it. I felt it was just a tad long, but he mentioned Biden's name once and then casually a second time, and that was it. And I think
and he knew, and the only reason he was like, I'm going to say it was, he's like, all right, say it one more time. But you knew his staffers were like, nope, this was not in the pre-plan.
Well, the first rule of politics is, right? Do you know what it is?
I don't.
Okay, the first rule of politics when you're running for office is never, ever, ever mention your opponent's name. That's the first rule in politics. Why would you give them free airtime?
Yeah, that's fair.
On your dime, why would you give your opponent free airtime? So you say, things like the person I'm running against or my opponent, but you never, ever mention their name. I mean, that was a Trumpism. That was like Trumpomania, like my bumper sticker, which I hope everybody watches the news tonight. So five Channel 5 is going to have on at both newscasts. So they found, what they found most amusing of everything today at the store and everything else. They found my Trumpomania sticker on the back of my car. Yeah, so I can't wait to see that. And they go, I didn't realize that Hulk Hogan was so handsome. I go, yeah.
Oh, I'm sure that's exactly what they said. I'm sure it's exactly what came out of the newscaster's mouth.
So we're gonna do our best to suffer through another night or two of this ordeal that we call the Democrat National Convention. Personally, I think it's like watching, when you grew up, did you ever watch at Christmas time? They had the animatronics, little things of, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer.
Oh yeah, the
claymation
ones. Yeah.
Yeah. And remember during one of those, this is serious, I'm going to catch so much shit for this, but I really don't care. So remember the Land of Misfit Toys?
Oh yeah.
That's what I feel like I'm watching when I'm watching the Democrat National Convention. I feel like this is, I sent you some videos today.
Just looking at the pictures.
Just looking at the people pictures, what the people are saying.
The pictures you sent me while you were there at the RNC
was nothing like
looks
this.
Completely different.
And that's the reason.
And it's not because I'm a Trump
biased,
guy or whatever.
right,
It's
right.
just looking at it. It's just optics.
It's just optics. And, I mean, we sit there and I just want to say that I don't have a whole lot in common with a lot of these people. They hold values I find abhorrent. The biggest thing they're doing there is, as we talked about, is they're promoting abortion and vasectomies, and that's their big deal. And the people that are there are they're interviewing them, and I don't think they're going out of their way to find the weirder of the weird. I think these people are just there.
Well, here, you sent me this.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely dashing darling.
I mean,
Height
what
of
the hell is
decorum.
that?
Footage from Sunday in Chicago shows women dressed as abortion pills marching as the city gears up for the Democratic National.
Well, there was another guy that said that he wanted, and I actually emailed you that. There was a guy they interviewed, and they said they wanted to have, he wanted all Republicans to go away or be deported, and he wanted all illegals let in this country, and migrants, however he put it. And I was like, really? I was like, this is where we're at. Something we should probably pay a little bit of attention to that will be coming up, and I ask people to kind of keep their ears peeled for this. I'm sending Jason now the video, so he'll pull it up here shortly. But I read and then I saw the video of RFK's running mate.
I think I have that one.
That
Or I did.
has
Yeah,
announced. So we'll play this here in a second, but this could be key to this election. And when Trump did his interview with Elon Musk and post that, he said that he would consider Elon Musk for a position in his administration. And I think that would be really cool, because I think Elon Musk has a lot of outside the box ideas that could be beneficial to government. Not necessarily will be, but definitely could be. Probably understands about efficiency, probably understands about market forces, probably understands about technology. So I think he'd be a valuable addition to a Trump administration. But I also think that if, RFK, for all of his faults, and there are a lot of them, and you've said you like some of RFK's ideas.
There's some.
And I think that he now is giving some, there was a rumor before, but this is his running mate saying this. And if he decides to join forces with Donald Trump, I think that would pretty much close the door on this election. I did hear that Van Jones, and I think although I disagree with his politics completely, he has some pretty keen insight politically. Van Jones is upset because the election, in his mind, is way too close. Meaning, given all the puff pieces, given the interviews, given the no press conference, given every puff piece, and I saw a report today, 84% of Kamala's media coverage is positive by the media. 87% of Donald Trump's coverage is negative. So given all that the election is tied, he thinks Kamala should be running away with it. He's concerned that it's tied right now. And he thinks that does not bode well for the election. But given what RFK's running mate is saying here, if this happens, it could really change the fundamentals of this election going forward. So let's look at her.
At, and one is staying in, forming that new party, but we run the risk of a Kamala Harris and Walt's presidency, because we draw votes from Trump, or we draw somehow more votes from Trump, or we walk away right now and join forces with Donald Trump, and we walk away from that and we explain to our base why we're making this decision. Not easy.
Clearly.
Yeah, not an easy decision.
Pretty cool, huh?
Well, I think, there you can tell, like, the disappointment. She doesn't necessarily want to do that.
No, of course not. She's running for the office.
I'm going off inflection, but
right.
But also looking at
reality.
We can either have this, or we can try to strive this, or we can support this and probably get there.
Well, what I think what this shows, and I'm not disagreeing with you, but I think what this shows is that this person recognizes that the risk of having a Kamala presidency is so great to the well-being of this country and the direction of this country. And she's RFK's running mate. And she's like, you know what? I would rather, it sounds to me, and maybe I'm reading too much into it, she would rather not have that happen than just run a race for the sake of running, because they both know they're not going to win. But if they are the ones that cause Kamala to win the election, that is a risk that they don't seem to be willing to take. And I can't disagree with it.
I take it. I take it exactly that way.
So I think these people,
which I think is stand up. I think it's stand up
Totally.
because you're literally now at this point, because what are we with today?
2 months, 3 months,
August 20th.
Yeah. 2 months before early voting.
We're not far off.
No.
And they're actually starting to take a look.
Yeah.
And saying, should we run that independent fucking vote, or keep her and him, Kamala and Walz? I think we can keep them out.
I think they realize the risk.
I like the idea.
I like the idea, and I don't have I really think that if Donald Trump or the Trump administration or campaign said to RFK, you know what, we would entertain the idea of putting you in a cabinet position of some level. And I know he has crazy ideas. Don't misunderstand me. There's a lot of things that he supports that I don't agree with.
But at a cabinet level, he can be controlled.
Yeah, like Pete Buttigieg is the transportation secretary. Who gives a shit, right? Who gives two shits?
Fake tits.
I don't bring that up. But we're the weird ones.
Yeah,
we're the weird ones. No, I think that would really open a lot of people's eye and show which one is the party of inclusivity and diversity here.
Right.
And I think that would cement the election, because this election, sadly, is going to be very, very close. I don't think it should be, but it is. And 1 or 2 percentage points is absolutely mammoth, don't you think?
Oh,
huge.
Yes.
So if he could parlay his support into some sort of influence in a new Trump administration, and there's probably a lot of Republicans that would be upset at that.
Well,
but I would rather.
Well, here's my thought too with that is, okay, you've got a Republican, a Democrat, and independent running.
Right.
Maybe right now is not the time for the independent.
It's not.
And guess what? Donald Trump's not running again.
No,
he's not. He's not going to run again. So take this 4 years and regroup your independent party if that's what you want to do. If that's the
I think these people are being stand up, like you said, and I think they're putting the country above their own personal agendas.
Absolutely.
And I think that is to be saluted, because I think they realize, and I think what they're saying here is, look, we don't agree with him and we don't agree with her, but she's dangerous to this country. So we're going to join forces with him to make sure that she and her administration do not get in power and impose their will on people. And we didn't even get into some of the comments of AOC, but I think that's, and we'll dissect that further, but we wanted today's show to be a little bit shorter.
Our buddy Dan Varner just said RFK and running mate need to announce that right after this DNC convention. This will kill the DNC convention boost they're hoping to get. Which
Dan Varner, with his keen political insights, he is a sharp tech.
He's our boots on the ground.
He is our boots on the ground. Thank you, Dan.
No,
and
I think he's right.
Spot on. Don't do it now. Let them have their convention. Let them have their little horse and pony show. And then the Monday after the convention, nothing really happens over the weekend. And the Monday after the convention, Donald Trump comes out, holds another press conference, and says,
which he's been doing
because he's not hiding in a basement, and comes out with a big announcement that RFK is going to endorse him. So we'll see what happens. But today's show's got to be a little bit shorter because I've got a prior engagement. I've got to go to a board meeting tonight for Hillcrest Cemetery, which is a great cause, cemetery that we help maintain here in the township, that is home to a lot of great veterans that served this country, and it's been abandoned, and there's a board that's established to maintain that cemetery, and we struggle to find funds to do it, but we manage, in the township now, through a change in state law, has taken over a lot of the maintenance, but there's still a very small section of that cemetery that lies in the city of Cincinnati. And guess what maintenance they do?
Zero. Dan, I know you're in the chats. You'll get an ad read next time. I know Andrew's got to go, so
Scoot.
We appreciate you.
Oh,
we appreciate you, even though a lot of people don't. I appreciate you.
That lady appreciated me today. She gave me the finger. Driving her gray Nissan, whatever.
There may potentially. I just got an email while I was going through emails, throwing stuff up. Some
Jason,
stuff come up very soon.
Yeah,
but I'm going to let you get out of here.
I hope that your manliness feels better.
I hope my nutsack feels better too. Hey guys, we appreciate you guys. Whether you agree with us, whether you don't, thank you for engaging in the chats.
Yep.
Download, rate, review. I will get on the Instagram and the Facebook and let you know when the next one is. I think it's going to be pretty soon. So I got to reply to this email. Love you guys. See ya.